Hi everyone, I'm Joanne and welcome to my craft room. Today I'm going to show you how to make these really cute like little ephemera holders. I'm going to show you this one. I open it like this and it's just like that, and here's the back. And I'm going to give you some ideas if you don't have the supplies exactly how I'm making it, then you can kind of do it with what you have. I could even run some sewing there, but I didn't, and it's fine. I like the way it is. I'm just looking at it now. So anyhow, this is what I used. I have some wallpaper. I was inspired by Nina Ribena, and that's what her channel's called. And she made similar things with napkin. I used collage paper. I have the Tim Holtz Aviary, which I'll show you in a second. This is the Tim Holtz typography. And I have a third one right here, which is botanical. All right, so I have 3 different of the collage papers. This one just came in the cherry box that I unboxed about a week ago. I'll link that in the description below because it's a really cool box, subscription box. I mean, it was fab. So anyhow, that's what I used for this one. All right, so again, I started out with some textured wallpaper. I don't have much wallpaper. I had went into a paint store once and I ordered some paint, and I just happened to ask if they had some old wallpaper books, and the gentleman brought me out a couple, and I'm like, great, thank you. So I went through, and this one is the textured one that is like this, although let me show you, open it up again. It was a little bit of a lighter color. I guess the backs are the same, but the front was a lighter color than this. Is just slightly darker. And then this one, I'll show you when I get to this step. It's kind of a swirly, so it's the only thing I could find in the books, I don't know if it'll pick it up, that had texture. So my thought was you could use cardstock and run it through an embossing folder, although you'd have to do like one side and then the other side, where you don't even need the texture. But if you have some wallpaper, something like this, it made a nice pocket. You can use this, you know, put ephemera in, send it as happy mail, stick it in a journal. I'm in a place where I'm trying to build up some elements for my next journal. My last video I made these cool little circular discs, and now I'm making these. So when I go to decorate, I have some things to put in there, but I thought this was a cool idea. If you don't have collage paper, by all means use napkin. Just get it down to 1 ply. You can use, I know if you get your Creative Studio, a lot of times there's that real thin, it's like collage paper. It's actually the exact same kind of feel. It's not rice paper, it's more like collage paper. Whatever you have. So I am going to use wallpaper, and I'm going to take you through all the steps. I'm going to cut this down to 5 inches. That's what they were, the 2 that I am worked on. And the length is just the length of the book, and I think it was 12 inches. Yeah, 12 inches. So I couldn't really mess with that so much. So I'm using 5 by 12. I mean, these can be any size you want. All right, so the idea is to kind of get the texture through what you're collaging on top. All right, one thing you do need to keep in mind is that one piece is going to come up, one piece is going to come over. So you need to think about, well, this is going to be the front, this is going to be the back, and this is going to flip around. All right, I think for this one, I'm actually going to put those creases in so I kind of remember what I'm doing. Let me pull out a piece of paper. I have my matte medium. I probably didn't bring my brush back in. I have the brush cleaned out in my kitchen. I'm trying to get this on back. So you want a soft softish brush. Let me see all the ones I have. Definitely, if you're using napkin, try to get a really soft brush. The collage paper is a little more forgiving. Even though this is smaller, I think I'll use this one. All right, and then I'm gonna use this collage paper, the black and white. I haven't really done much with this. I think I did one flower pot with this, and I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I gave it away. No, I think I have that one. I've covered terracotta flower pots with this collage paper, mainly this one, and they've come out beautifully, and I do have them early on in my videos that I've posted. So I'm just going to guess, you know, the length here and just kind of come along. Again, this is going to be my front right here. So if it's directional, I want to kind of decide, you know, make sure that I have that going in the right direction. I'm using matte medium. You can use Mod Podge. You can water down some just white glue if you want. I like this when I collage. I'm not loyal to a brand. This is the first brand I've ever purchased of it, and it's worked fine. So I'm going to put a layer of that down. All right, and then I'm going to stick this on top and kind of get it straight along the bottom and make sure it covers. There might be a little piece that shows. I can move over a little more. I'll be all right moving over a little more. Now then it's going to show up there. I really ripped this piece badly, but I'm just going to go with it. All right, I'll stick that down. And you can almost even see already how this texture comes through. I'm going to see the brown a little bit. Another layer of the matte medium. On top. I'm going to get it good here. So I can tell that this doesn't hit here. I might end up, after this dries, just trimming a little bit off the side so you don't see that that piece right there. But that's fine because it is going to be tucked. I am going to sew around it. You don't need to sew around it, but that would bother me a little bit. I could even take a little piece of this collage paper and just kind of maybe I'll do that. Let's see how that works. I mean, I am collaging in a way. Let me just get a little piece over here. And once that dries up, I think it's just going to blend in. So I think it's going to be fine. If I feel like it's not going to be, I'm going to cut along there. So that's going to end up being my front. So it's going to go like this. So this I want to flip around because it's going to be my back. And I want it to fit there. Now, as you can see, I'm going to have this. So I'm going to have to decide what I want to do about that. I'm probably just going to cut this down. Let's see, how many inches is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 exactly. Well, that was lucky. But I believe it's 5 across. So I want to do the 5 across. I have to stick this under this way because otherwise it's not going to cut where I want it to cut. So this is 5 across. I'm going to give it maybe about 1/4 of an inch more because the across part isn't going to matter. it's the up and down. I'm going to do 5.5. All right, that's what I decided that was. 5.5. So this should fit pretty well on the back. So this is going to be the back. Yep. It's going to fit on like that. Now, there's something I could do if this kind of bleeds over into that little piece. I can change where I fold the flap, which is what I might do. I could run a piece of washi there. There's a lot of different options. But I'm just going to put some matte medium on, which I'm getting low. The other thing that came in the cherry box, which I didn't unbox because it wasn't in mine, was a collage brush, super soft, and it was collage glue. It's sitting right to my left. I didn't pull it out because I have this right here and it's open, and I just kind of want to use what I have before I break into something else. All right, I'm going to put that on there. Stick a little more on top. So you just kind of have to keep in mind direction, unless you want to use two different types of, you know, something a little more solid on the back, have something floral on the front, and then do the rest of it, this part, something more solid. That would work, because then the flap would be that coming over, which would look really cool. If that makes any sense. It might not. I know what I'm saying, but I don't think I'm articulating it well. And then this piece, so this is the back, this is the front, this is going to flip over. So this piece, I kind of want it to be directional this way. I'm making things more complicated than they need to be. You certainly could do two different types of napkin or collage paper or whatever you're using, because I'm complicating things a little bit. Now, if I do it like this, it's going to look upside down, but I think that's just the way it's going to be. Because, let me show you what I'm talking about. This is right side up. This is this way. But I'm going to put this here because I don't want to really mess with, unless I really got a good cut here. Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. So I'm going to lay the matte medium down. I'm just thinking out loud, thinking the process through. This is what I do. And then I'm going to stick this here up against that, butt that up, and then glue on the top. So you could do, you know, all the, your creative studio, you'd need a couple pieces, but it would be all the same thing. Theirs isn't very directional, most of those papers, some of them are, because this is directional, that I really need to think through what's the front, what's the back, how it's going to fold over. I'm going to try to explain this one more time. So if you put a pattern here, okay, and then a different pattern on all of this, that would be your back, and it would flip around. So maybe you would have a floral and something more solid, and that would be easier than what I kind of did piecing it. So just an idea, just a thought to keep in mind. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and that's not going to be dry until tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to pull this one over that's dry that I did earlier, and I pieced this one kind of like I just did with that. So let me see here. It looks like there's a fold. Let me see, a fold right here. That's where it changes. And then there's going to be a fold. I think this was the front. I feel like there's a fold. Let me think about this, how I have this. Was this the front? All right, I was just taking a look at this because I didn't piece it quite like I did that black and white one, which is completely correct. So it seems like I have a seam here. So that leads me to believe I was thinking this is the front, this is the back, although that's really pretty. At this point, either could be the front and the back, because I'm going to have to cut a piece off somewhere and to fold this down. Or I could pull it up more, and that would just be the back. I think I'm going to do that and keep it the same size. All right. So I'm going to fold this about here. There, make it straight, and then this is going to be the front top that comes down. What I'm going to show you is I have a seam here that probably shouldn't be there, but I think it's okay, and I think it looks okay. Now, if I want to break up that seam, let me just pull this out and show you, give you an idea. I'm just trying to get something that would be complementary to this. Something like this. I could take some washi and do that. All right. So that would take care of that on the back. You wouldn't see it. And actually that looks pretty good, because look, this color picks up the color in here. So I may go back and do that actually. I think that would look nice. I don't have to do that until the end. That's not true. I would want to do it before I sewed it. All right, so I'm going to do that now. I take washi, and I like to run some glue stick over it. So I'm just going to hold it, run some glue stick. That way it just gives it a little extra something to hold it down. I want to make sure this isn't directional. And I don't think it is, so it's okay going this way. So I'm going to try to get this on straight here. And it makes it look nice. And you can't see that seam. So if you mess up, like I kind of did, it's not the end of the world. Just try to think of a way to fix it. And I think washi works out just fine. So this is the back. All right, and that looks kind of cool like that. So here's my front, and here's my flap. All right, the one thing I want to do now, and I just want to make sure this is good here. All right, I think it's dry enough that I can round the corner. Yep. All right, perfect. So I have the corner rounded. All right, so now it's going to be like this. At this point, I can come around and ink it, because I want to do that before I glue or sew. You don't have to sew, you can glue, but I'm just going to come around the front. I'm using Vintage Photo because it's really the only brown I have, and Distress Oxide or ink. And I tend to use Vintage Photo for everything, but you can use whatever you have. You know, if it's a pretty pink, whatever you're making, not vintage like this, use some kind of pink. Or don't ink it at all. And I'm going to come around and ink the inside. Get a lot around there. Kind of grunge it up a little. I don't have to come all the way down because that's going to be covered like this. All right. All right, then you have to think about enclosure. Now you can do a lot of different things. You can make it very simple and just put something here. You can wrap the string around, and maybe I'll do this one although I think it might pull. I don't think I do want to do that. I was thinking I could wrap the string around, but I think it would pull here. in here. It may not. I'm thinking out loud again. This one I used 2 buttons. So you definitely want to do this before you sew or glue. All right, that's my whole point. So this one, I sewed some of the, this is embroidery floss. I did the X there so you could see it, and then I glued it down. So I don't have anything on the back side. This one, I just sewed it right into the paper. And then I put some washi on the inside. Let me see if you can see it. So that whenever, let's see, yeah, you can see it. So when you put something in there, it's not gonna grab onto it. All right. So that's how I did this enclosure. You can do a lot of different ways. I like these buttons because they're flat, and if I was to send it in Happy Mail, it wouldn't get stuck too badly. So what I was thinking here, I was thinking that I would probably, let's maybe do it different. Let me pull out some embroidery floss and a needle that I just put back in here. Where'd you go? Here you are. Although if I do it like this, I may want to use twine. No, I think I'm going to stick with the embroidery floss. So I am going to get one of the buttons out. And try to find something that I like on here. I think I like the darker. There's even a darker one in here. Nope, my imagination. It's a trick of the eye with the color here. All right, so I think it's gonna be, no, there is a darker one because these only have 2 and this has 4. Is that what I used? That's what I used. All right, so if I just put it here, I don't have to do this before I sew because nothing's gonna go down here. So I can go and sew this, the sides. If you want to just glue, you can just glue. I would use Fabri-Tac. White glue, if you're using wallpaper, I think the Fabri-Tac would be better, but you could try white glue like art glitter glue. I'm sure it'll work. So I'm just going to run off, do a stitch down here, and then I'm going to do the enclosure. So I'll be right back. All right, I sewed the side. I did a zigzag, all right? Got fancy there for once. Put the zigzag down the 2 sides. And since I'm doing just 1 button enclosure up here, I can do that now. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to find the center, which is about right here. I'm going to draw, where did my pencil go? Here it is. Oh. I'm gonna put these little holes here. My kittens are behaving in here, they're sleepy. So now I have those marks right there. So what I'm gonna come along and do, so I can know that I sew this right where I want it. Oh, I'm saying that, and here they come. I'm gonna poke the 4 holes through. So when I go to sew it on. Now, I wanna tell you about a mistake I made with this. I just sewed these little cross stitches and then I glued it down. And as I was gluing it, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this isn't going to wrap if I glue the whole thing down. Luckily, I was able to pull it up, and that's why I just went through the wallpaper so that it could do this, so that it could wrap. Otherwise, this would have been all glued down and there would have been nothing for that to catch on. So that was one, learn from my mistake. That was one thing that I caught that was incorrect. So this, I need it to be wrap around once, wrap around twice, and some extra. Now this is attracting a kitten. Mr. Sky here. All right, I'm going to thread this needle. I have glue and everything else on me right now. Excuse me. I'm going to, yes, I know I have thread and, sorry. All right, you need to move, baby. You need to move because people can't see with you there. He's a sweetie. Get on the floor. They'll be right back up, I'm sure. So I'm going to put my button there. I'm going to come up through a hole and get my button on. I'm going to go down and find a hole. All right, funny boy. Here's one right here. I'm gonna go down. Oh, you're falling. And then I'm gonna come back up through that hole. I'm gonna come down. All right, let me think about this. If I'm down, I'm gonna have to come this way and wrap around like that. Is that what I wanna do? Or do I wanna come up in another hole and go like this? That's Oliver. All right, Oliver. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it like that. So coming up is how I want it to be. So then all I'm going to do is wrap this around. I could probably do it twice, right? Is it long enough? Yeah, I think it is. Once, twice, whatever. I'm going to put another little knot here. All right, and then this is what I need to decide. Does this bother me? Ah, we're being surrounded by kittens. It's a kitten invasion. Does this bother me? It really doesn't. If it does, I could put a piece of washi or something there and cover that, but I kind of almost like it. So I'm gonna wrap this one like this. It's probably too short for twice. So I'm going to this is impossible with cats. Oh my gosh. Let's see how long that lasts on the floor. With him being on the floor. All right, and then it's just gonna go around like that. And it's probably way too long, so I'm going to kind of shorten it a bit. Hi, Sky. What do you think? Do you like this project? Oh boy. He likes it so much, he wants to eat it. Let me get this needle away right now. All right, we don't want any kitten catastrophes. All right, and that's this one. So what do you think? I like it. And here's the other one. And then when the black and white one dries, I'll be making a third. So that's basically it. Listen, this is inspiration to just kind of get your brain going. What do you have? What could you use? What could you do that's similar? Don't buy into this. I have to do it exactly like I'm being shown, and I have to go out and buy things and, you know, look for these supplies, because I definitely made that error in the beginning. And now I'm getting to be more, I watch people and, you know, I think, well, how can I adapt that? I don't have the napkins that Nina had. that would work for this, but I do have collage paper, so let me try to use collage paper. If I didn't have wallpaper, well, I can emboss, or I could just make this out of cardstock or craft paper. It doesn't have to be, you know, exactly as what I did. These turned out really nice with the wallpaper because I like the way that they feel. I have shorts on and somebody's trying to climb up my legs. So, you know, just do with what you have and try to figure out something that you could do that would be similar and that you would like, and you know, go from there. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up. They're always appreciated. It helps push the video out in YouTube world. Questions and comments below. I love responding and reading your comments. If you feel so inclined to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you, and thank you for taking some time with me today and watching what I created. All right, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I mean that from my heart. All right, have a great day.